All right, class. In this lesson, we're going to talk about the reason for the seasons. All right, so we're going to talk about how the Earth moves around the sun and how that accounts for the 4 seasons. All right, so as you can see with my globe here, I've got these 2 pieces sticking out of the top and the bottom to represent the axis that goes through the center of the Earth. So remember that the Earth is tilted at a 23.5 degree angle. So as the Earth moves around the sun, it's going to stay tilted at that 23.5 degree angle, and that's going to cause the seasons, as we'll see. All right, so my phone here, with its light turned on, is going to represent the sun. I'm going to take my mini globe and I'm going to move it around the sun and keep it tilted at that 23.5 degree angle that we talked about as it moves around the sun. So as I do this activity, I want you to imagine that my phone here, with its light, is going to be the sun, and of course my tiny globe is going to represent the Earth. Okay. All right, guys, so again, here's my globe. Here's my imaginary sun, which is actually my phone, but it's going to act, of course, as a light source here for our purposes today. All right, so first of all, I'm going to talk about the summer solstice. Now again, remember, my globe is pointed at a 23.5 degree angle. So if I just focus this, let's just bring it around to the side here. And you can see that, let's go all the way around to the side. You can see that my globe is at an angle, right? It's not straight up and down, it's tilted towards the sun, or rather the North Pole right now is tilted towards the sun. So let's come back around here. Now because the North Pole at this point is tilted towards the sun, you can see that the light source is focused on the northern hemisphere. Specifically, it's focused around the Tropic of Cancer because of the angle of the Earth. So the Tropic of Cancer right now is receiving direct sunlight. All right, and all the rest of the Earth, of course, is receiving indirect sunlight. Now, as the Earth moves around the sun, and let's get our sun to also move with us. Okay, so right now, we're still pointed at that 23.5 degree angle. Okay, the Earth is pointed the same way, but now, because we're on the other side of the sun, the equator is actually receiving direct sunlight. You see, it's not that either of the hemispheres is receiving any more direct sunlight than the other, but the equator itself is receiving the direct sunlight. Okay, this is what we call the fall equinox. When we were back here, that was the summer solstice. Okay, summer solstice is when the northern hemisphere receives the direct sunlight. We move over to the fall equinox, which is when the equator is receiving direct sunlight. Now let's continue to move our globe around the sun till we're over here at the winter solstice. All right, now you can see that now the southern hemisphere is receiving direct sunlight. So let's rotate our globe a little bit here. See, here's Australia, for instance. Okay, so Australia, being in the southern hemisphere, is now receiving the direct sunlight, and the Earth, of course, still pointed at that 23.5 degree angle in the same direction. So let's keep moving our globe around the sun till we get right here, the spring equinox. Again, my globe pointed at a 23.5 degree angle. Now the sun, or rather the direct sunlight, is hitting the equator once more. It's our spring equinox. Okay, let's keep moving around. So now this is an entire year later. Of course, we're back to the original position, and the northern hemisphere once again is receiving direct sunlight. All the indirect sunlight is going down here to the southern hemisphere. So we know now it's summer. It's summer in the northern hemisphere. It's winter in the southern hemisphere. So let's go through all these seasons one more time. So, fall equinox, we've got the direct sunlight hitting the equator. All right, over here, this is the winter solstice, when the direct sunlight is hitting the southern hemisphere, and it's summer in the southern hemisphere. Okay, so Australia, South Africa would experience summer during the winter, during the winter solstice. Okay, it's called the winter solstice, but that's only because it's winter in the northern hemisphere, but it's summer in the southern hemisphere. Let's move over here to the spring equinox. Once again, the equator is receiving that direct sunlight until now we're back here to the summer solstice one more time. And that's when the northern hemisphere is receiving direct sunlight, so it's summer in the northern hemisphere.